Hello and welcome to another tips, tricks, and tutorials video. They're joking in the chat about swearing now because I have now hidden it for these while I'm shooting these. I can still see you though. Swear words, and swear words, sure. That's only on the Pixels and Puppets channel, that's not on here. So what are we doing today? This is going to be a weird one. I mean, they're all weird, but this is going to be a highly specific and specialized one that I don't think a lot of people are going to be terribly useful, but there might be one or two who will. Puppetronic, nice to see you. Thank you for following. See, I'm proof that it's a live stream right there. Here is the task before us. We are working on a live hands monster. I can give you a little preview of where we are with this critter. And this is a nice blink mech monster. And the client has asked that the eyes for this are, they initially asked for glass eyes, or at least something that would look like glass. And specifically not shiny plastic. They wanted glossy, but not shiny plastic. And I totally understand that. Shiny plastic just looks like shiny plastic, and you can tell they wanted something that looks more like glittery like glass. I haven't worked with glass that much, and they're expensive and hard to get and very difficult to work with and quite heavy, particularly for the sizes that we're talking about here. So I suggested an alternative. And this is something I've done a couple times before, and it's worked out well. But this is a way to make something very glossy and look like glass, but it's not glass, basically. Now, caveat, most of the time, particularly for something like eyes, you want to avoid glossiness. If you're doing this for like a film shoot, either, you know, a big production or just a YouTube video or whatever, the problem with glossiness is you get hot spots and it reflects the camera light and the lights in the studio back. And so lighting directors hate glossiness. You always want to go as diffuse as possible on any surface that you don't want to have reflections off of. Particularly if you're green screening or anything like that, they can cause major problems. However, that's not my call. This is what the client has asked for. So this is the task before us. So let me show you kind of where we're going here. I'm going to go to the close-up cam here. Boom. Okay, so they're going to be black, glittery eyes, and this is, think like Sprocket on Fraggle Rock. That kind of vibe is what we're going for. So what I do is all of my eyes are now 3D printed. So this is just an example. This isn't exactly what we're working with here, but here's an example of an eye directly from the 3D printer. As you can see, it's quite matte. In fact, it's got a neat sheen to it. And I'll usually just use them straight out of the printer like this. And these look kind of cool. Loved Fraggle Rock. Oh, listen, I got whole stories. Ozone, you gotta have me back on the show, because oh, hey, the chat is still showing. I'm sorry. I guess it hides in different ways. There we go. Anyway, wow, so professional. Okay, anyway, so this is the kind of eye that will come right out of the printer. Now, what we want to do is make this very glossy as possible. There's a couple of ways you can do that. You can there are spray paints that you can get that are just a glossy top coat. Those will work well. They're also spray paint, so they're kind of a pain to use, particularly if you're using them indoors. Always have good ventilation. Remember, kids, safety first. Another way is to, and this is something I can speak to with a degree of authority, you can do something like this. This is nail polish top coat. And this is basically an acrylic, and it will air dry quite quickly. In fact, you can see some on my nails right now. And this will create a very glossy finish. The problem is, over time, this could flake and break off. So you probably don't want to use this unless you need something in a hurry. Like if you're on a film set, for example, and you need to oh, we need this to be shiny or look wet or something. Boom, you can just slap some of this on, let it air dry for a minute, no problem, ready to go. But you won't get a lot of good durability or duration out of this. So what the real solution is this stuff, which is, of course, there we go, UV reactive resin. A lot of crafting people will know about this stuff. Very, very interesting and neat and fun to work with. Bit messy, but we can accommodate for that. But the way this stuff works, also people who are interested in doing nail fashions will know about this stuff because this gets used a lot in that. And it is pretty much what it says on the bottle. It's a resin that cures by UV light. Like I said, very specialized subject we're going for today, but we're going to do it anyway. Let me show you this. So if you've ever been watching an Operation Puppet stream, oh, the chat is going to be like this, is it? Okay, fine. Note to self, fix that for next time. Have you ever been watching one of my streams? Of course you have. And wondered what the heck is that white box in the corner with the Operation Puppet sticker on it? That is a UV curing chamber. If you look inside, you can just kind of make it out. In the back there is a strip of UV lights, and there's a little motorized turntable on the bottom here. So if you want to cure something, i.e. harden or dry, as it were, something that has UV reactive substance like resin on it, you put it in there, you close, you seal the chamber, and then there's a timer that you set and you turn it on, and it goes for however long that you ask it to. Now, how long does this stuff take to cure? It depends. You don't actually need a special UV light to cure this stuff. You can literally put it in a sunny window, and the UV light from the sun will do it. It takes a lot of time to do that, probably like a day or two. But nevertheless, if you don't have access to a UV light, you can do that. There's all kinds of UV lights for curing resin that you can get. This is just a fancy box with a UV light in the back, basically. You can get handheld UV lights. There are ones that they sell specifically for doing nails that are just like something you can rest your hand under. There's all kinds of UV lights you can get for it. This is the most convenient for me because I can just pop something in it, push a few buttons, and then let it go. So the amount of time depends on how thick the resin is, what kind of resin. The resin itself will have some guides. I have found them to be only mildly accurate. You usually want a lot more time than the resin tells you. The other interesting thing about this kind of resin, and I should point out, you don't just have to use this to coat stuff. You can actually just make stuff with this. You can pour this into molds and then let it cure in the mold, and it will, there's a whole area of crafting that's just making stuff like jewelry and things with UV resin. And it looks like glass. It comes out completely transparent. You can also get, I think I have some around here. Let me go back to the tight cam here. This is UV reactive dye. And you can put a few drops of this in your normally transparent UV resin, and this will color it. So you can make different colors of glass as well. You can make really neat things. You can even do like stained glass style things with it. It's really, really flexible what you can do with this. But what we're doing with it is just coating an eye, curing it in the chamber, and getting it to be very, very glossy. And I can give you an example of that because here is, for example, like a cooking show, one I prepared earlier. This is the same size and style of eye, but this has got one coat of that UV reactive resin on it, and you can just see how glossy that is. That's like really, really shiny. And this, I think you'll agree, does not look like cheap shiny plastic. This looks If I told you this was glass and you didn't have any reason to doubt me, you would probably just accept that this was glass. So this is what we are doing. Now, the more coats you put, the glossier and smoother it will be. This is also a way, FYI, that you can smooth out the layer lines with 3D printing. Because you know, any filament-based 3D printer is going to have layer lines. You can kind of see it a little bit in this one. This is one way that you smooth out the line, other than doing like an acetone vapor chamber thing. You can take some UV resin, coat it, cure it, and then sand it down, particularly if you're going to paint it afterwards. And this is a really nice way of smoothing out a 3D printed model. So the more coats that you put, the smoother and glossier it will be. So let me show you the eyes that we are actually working with. This is just an example that I prepared for the video. Here are the actual eyes that are going to be going on the puppet. And I've already put 3 coats of UV reactive resin on these. And you can just see how incredibly glossy these things are. That's just, it's like a delightful gem. Really, really nice. So what we're going to do is, as an example, I'm just going to put another coat. This will be the final coat of UV resin on this. And then we're going to stick it in the chamber. And that's kind of it. Afterwards, this will just come out and this will be hard and dry and no problem. Now I'm going to put these in for about half an hour, I think, is where we're going to go with that, because I've noticed that if you put it in for as much time as the recommended, and I'm not sure what it says here, usually they're way shorter than what you actually need. They come out a little bit sticky, and you don't want that. You want it to be as dry and, like, you know, able to touch it as possible. Also keeping the dark underlying color. Yeah, well, that's the other thing about the UV resin is it's completely transparent. Like, this is as transparent as glass or ice or something like that. It is completely 100% transparent. So, well, I guess not 100%, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see it. But that's the nice thing with these. I didn't have to put the dye in at all, because it's, you know, it's going over something that's black already. So this is just have to coat this with the UV resin and we're all good. So here's how I'm going to do it. Let's reach down here, and my good old trusty sponge brushes. I love a good sponge brush. And here's the nice part about this. I use these fairly often, and yes, these are disposable, but they're not completely disposable. Of course you can't open it. Hey, I don't want to ruin my nails. Because what I do, all we really need is the spongy part. And of course, as I've talked about before, I just take these. Of course, this one's not going to cooperate. There we go. Pull out the spongy part, and then this will become an arm rod handle. And this is how I get inexpensive wooden dowels for my arm rods. This is what they are. Very, very handy. And these things are like a dime a dozen. These are super cheap. So, good resource to have. We'll set that aside, and that will become an arm rod handle. So here is how we're going to do it. I'm just going to go to the close-up cam here. Hide the chat and get all you swear words. Did it come back? Oh, good. Oh, you know, I'll bet you it's showing up again every time I switch scenes. Oh, well. I'll sort that out for next time. Okay, so the thing about this is I'll show it in a little cup here, but I'm not actually going to use the cup for this, just because I don't really need to. Here's a little disposable. This is the kind of thing you get if you get like you know, you can get kits that are just for mixing the stuff. This is just a little disposable thing. It's, as you can see, it's like a thick syrup. It's like a gloppy kind of, you know. Yeah, I might as well use it for this. It's out of the bottle already. You do want to keep this stuff capped. Now, thankfully, this stuff, I don't know if other brands are have more fumes, but this stuff really doesn't smell I would not feel the need for ventilation with this stuff, although it's probably never a bad idea, but I'm definitely not gonna put the mask on for this, so we're just gonna dip a little bit in there, make sure I'm getting most of this on camera. It's not easy. And we're just gonna, excuse me, tighten this up. It's also not a bad idea to do this with gloves, but of course I'm not, because do as I say, not as I do. But you know, here we go. It's very, very simple. Obviously, try and get it even and smooth. Try not to get like lint and stuff in it. You probably will. You always will. It isn't going to be perfect. Nothing ever is. That's what makes it nice. Clearly handmade. There we go. There's that one. And is that still on camera? More or less? More or less. More less than more. Okay. So there we go. Just coat it, and that's it. You don't need much. Just a little tiny bit. Like I said, this is the 4th coat that's going on this. So, okay. So let's go to the wide cam, and we can open the chamber. The chamber of UV. Now, of course, I'm saying all this, and the switch has fallen down, and it's on a plug, and if I pull too hard, the plug is going to come unplugged, and that will be bad. Okay, there we go. I got it. We're good. We're good. There's a little timer here, and you can barely see that. But I'm just going to open the chamber. I'm going to put these on the turntable. Close the chamber. Find the plug you just dropped again. Believe me, this is the par for the course in this place. There's so much stuff piled up. Okay, I'm gonna set this for half an hour. And hopefully, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. See how it's like it's lit up? It's got a purple glow to it now. That means the chamber is functioning. So there we go. And then all we do is just wait the half an hour, let that thing go, and when you take them out, it'll be all nice and dry and glossy and hard, and that's pretty good. So that's it. That's the tip, trick, and or tutorial. How to make something look like glass that isn't glass. And like I said, it is somewhat specialized, but the UV resin you can get anywhere. I got that stuff on Amazon. And the UV lights, you don't have to have the fancy box chamber. You can just get like a handheld thing. It's a little bit of a pain. Or like I said, if you got the time, you can literally just put it in a sunny windowsill and let the sun do the job. It will take a lot of time, but it will work. You can do it. All right, anyway, so I'm gonna hand this back to editing Frankie, and we'll hopefully try and clean up some of my mess. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I'm gonna get back to my live stream.